How would you like to have that confidence of knowing exactly what you should focus on to hit your forehand just like that? In this video, I'm gonna be breaking down the 8 phases that every single top player in the world does on every forehand. Of the split step, the positioning, the unit turn, the backswing, the acceleration, contact follow through, and recovery. Where by the end of this video, you're gonna be equipped with a true masterclass blueprint that's gonna allow you to know of your forehand specifically, what are the key parts that you need to focus on that's gonna allow you to develop to a world-class level. So let's jump right in to step 1 of 8. Every single top player in the world is gonna start their forehand sequence with the first phase, which is the S, the split step. As you split, that's what's gonna allow you to react at the quickest speed. A few key checkpoints to focus on with that split step. Number 1, right when your opponent is making contact, you wanna land it, and B, number 1, wider than shoulder width. Number 2, bent at least a 20-degree angle. And number 3, maintaining the lordotic or the inner curvature of your lumbar region of your spine. The reason why this last piece is so powerful is just by focusing on maintaining the chest in an upward position, having that curve, is it allows you to tap in to your comprehensive posterior chain. This is gonna allow you to move so much quicker. So when you get shots that are wider, it's gonna allow you to react and get in position right away, just like that. Now we've covered the split step, let's jump into the positioning. Where when pros move to the ball, you'll see there's just one of 2 movement patterns that they're gonna use. They're either going to initially take a step with their outside leg going here, or actually having the step going in and then crossing over. One thing I'd encourage you to do right now is actually take out footage of your forehand and assess when you're moving to the side. The key thing to look for is right when you're moving, if the ball's wide, go ahead and feed me a wide ball. Right when the ball's wide, you wanna see yourself crossing over to the shot right as you split. So you'll split, step, and cross over, and that's gonna allow you to position yourself and get right in the optimal court location immediately. From there, as you load into the ball, you can set up in one of 3 primary stances, where after you split, you're then gonna position yourself either using a cross or a basic shuffle as we just covered, where you're gonna wanna focus on, if the ball is higher, you're gonna wanna focus on setting up into a semi-open stance, which is gonna allow you to get more force from the bigger muscle of your body. If the ball is lower, you wanna set up into more of a neutral stance, getting your weight forward. And if the ball's very far in front of you and high, you can focus on stepping in through the shot from a open stance, just like that. So world-class athlete, we've covered split step, we've covered positioning, we've covered acceleration. Now, let's go into the exact hitting arm biomechanics of exactly what you wanna focus on with your hitting arm as you're accelerating. So, as the best players in the world split and they position themselves, they're gonna focus on hitting 2 key phases. Number 1 is the unit turn phase. Now, there is a lot of variation here. Players like Alcaraz will have a higher unit turn with their elbow position all the way back, versus players like Sinner, Federer, and Nadal will have a lower unit turn position with the choke of their racket more or less in line with their chin. What's awesome about this phase is you get to add your own personal style, your own custom flair, because we see world-class forehands being executed with this variation. The second phase, after you master this unit turn, is the focus on hitting a world-class backswing checkpoint. This phase is so crucial, and watch, even if I'm just starting from this phase and I get fed a ball, you'll see I'm able to generate a lot of force from my forehand just from starting in this specific checkpoint. What we'll find is that every top player in the world, no matter what type of unit turn style they use, no matter what type of grip they use, if their arm's straight, if their arm's bent, whatever their style is, they're gonna achieve 3 identical step-by-step checkpoints, where number 1, you wanna have your right arm in line with your right hip. Number 2, you wanna have your shoulder internally rotated at a 45-degree angle. So not too far forward, not too far back, but right at that 45-degree angle checkpoint. The third and final checkpoint is you wanna have your wrist in an extended position. This wrist extension causes your racket face to stay closed, so as you accelerate, rather than having your ball open up and your ball fly out, by maintaining that wrist extension, you can safely accelerate as hard as you want and still be able to generate spin and have it consistently. So now you understand exactly how to hit that backswing checkpoint. Let's now dive into the acceleration, where there's one crucial distinction, where I've worked with so many players that fly from all over the world to come work with me. This one distinction has truly been the breakthrough that's allowed them to go to the next level. And if you're someone who has ever tried to hit your forehand really hard, you set up, you're like excited to hit it, and then you went to go hit it really hard and you just found, you lost that consistency, it's because you didn't understand the distinction between the lower joint segment of your arm and then the upper joint segment of the arm. If we look at Alcaraz from a side angle, notice how as he accelerates, the racket will maintain this lagged position and the joint segment from his shoulder to his elbow will accelerate forward through the ball. A common mistake that a lot of players make is they decelerate because they're scared. They want to get the ball in. They decelerate the upper joint segment and then they tense the wrist and they tense the forearm. And if we replay that pass forehand I hit, notice how I decelerated my big muscles and I accelerated from my little muscles. The key distinction that's going to take you from a 2-0, a 3-0, up to that 4, 4, 5, 5, even up to a 10 UTR is the focus when you accelerate. Keep the wrist as relaxed as possible and accelerate from your bigger muscles. What you'll find is you can just hit the ball as hard as you want, feeling so good, accelerating, adding more spin, adding more flat, bombing it, and just feeling extraordinary from this one basic tip alone. Granted that you're mastering the other phases correctly, but just focus, keep the wrist relaxed, accelerate using the anatomical motion, horizontal shoulder adduction. This is powered by the pec, the anterior deltoid, and the lat muscle. Use and focus on these muscles, disengage the muscles of the wrist, disengage the muscles of the forearm. It's gonna give you that effortless experience. So to recap, we've covered the split step. We learned exactly how to do that. We covered the positioning. We learned the 2 variations there. We talked about that backswing, and now we've learned how do we accelerate? How do we get that easy force every single time? Let's dive into the final 3 phases. The contact, the follow through, and then the recovery. One crucial checkpoint to master, which if you feel like this is the exact instruction that you need to take your forehand to the next level, to be that player at your club who can hit effortlessly, I'd encourage you, click the link in the description right now and just watch a free video about the forehand transformation system. It's a full step-by-step masterclass teaching you how do you ingrain all 5 of these checkpoints we've been covering of the hitting arm into your unconscious muscle memory. So the one checkpoint that we're gonna focus on with our contact, again, whether it's a bent arm, straight arm, whatever type of style, you'll see that every top player in the world makes contact with their arm positioned in front of their body at approximately at a 45-degree angle. The common mistake to look out for, and if you ever felt rushed, if you ever felt tight, if you ever felt jammed with your forehand, it's likely that with your contact, your upper joint segment was actually in line or behind the midline of your trunk. So the key checkpoint, rather than getting stuck here in this weakened position like this, where you feel tight and jammed, focus on extending your arm by elbow extension, getting it in front of your body with your elbow in front of your trunk, just like that. And you're gonna find it unlocks such an easy amount of racket head speed, control, and force. From there, let's now go into the follow-through phase. The most common follow-through used on the tour is known as the windshield wiper follow-through, where the racket will internally rotate all the way across the body and finish on the other side of the body just like that. A really common mistake to look out here is as you're accelerating, don't break the line of the net. Don't flex the wrist, don't have the racket point towards the net, but rather accelerate using your bigger muscles. Accelerate using your pec, using your shoulder. Focus on adducting your arm forward with a relaxed wrist, and you'll see that when the pros accelerate, when they finish, their racket is gonna be internally rotated around on this side of the body. If we also observe them from a side angle, you'll see that the racket is actually gonna point towards the net all the way through their follow-through finish. This is direct counter evidence to a common misconception coaching term of snapping the wrist or trying to generate a lot of power from the wrist. If we look at every top player in the world, Sinner, Alcaraz, Nadal, Djokovic, you name it, as they accelerate, the wrist is gonna maintain an extended and relaxed position as they follow through and finish, internally rotating and having the strings stay more or less parallel to the surface of the court. After you've executed that, you've done your split, you've done your position, you got that uniturn backswing, that acceleration, contact, and follow through. Let's now jump in to the recovery. This one singular tip on the recovery is gonna take you from feeling really slow on the court to feeling really quick and also doing it in a way that feels effortless. Where I'm now gonna get fed a wide ball and I'm gonna do what most players do, the common mistake. Where as I split, position, accelerate, I'm now from this position just gonna take a bunch of shuffle steps back. So what that's gonna do is it's gonna slow your recovery. Just remember, if you're covering larger distances, if you wanna cover more court, we don't wanna take smaller steps, we wanna take bigger steps. So the next time you get stretched out, focus on after you hit it. Watch this one distinction of how I recover. Notice how quickly I got back in position. It's because right when I finished, right when I accelerated, I went ahead and focused on after I swung, I then maintain a wide stance, I crossed back over, and then I shuffled into position. Let's do this a few times, just so I can demonstrate how effortless it feels. Recovering back, and then split, just like that, good. Just like this, setting, accelerating all the way back, just like this. All right, world-class athlete, I hope you guys absolutely love this video. I hope you're feeling so clear now, and I can speak from my own experience. Before I knew these 8 phases, when I stepped out on the court, I didn't really know if I was improving. I didn't have a clear roadmap, a true system to go from a low level all the way up to the highest level that I'm personally capable of. So I hope you feel inspired. I hope you feel clear and ready to step on the court. I'd invite you to click the link in the description so we can keep this learning journey going strong together, and I can help you develop world-class forehand technique. It's my blessing and honor to be your coach. Click that link in the description. I'll see you in the next video. Let's go!